Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture here at StarCast and joined now by Brian Zane from Wrestling With Wregret. Brian, how is this weekend treating you so far?
I've been loving this weekend. I will say, having experienced New York WrestleMania weekend and what a cluster that was in terms of just like, I was spread out in so many different directions, and that's not even including the bigger directions that people were spread out in. Like, I didn't get a lot of stuff done that I wanted that weekend, but already here, I've enjoyed myself a lot more. I've been a lot less stressed, and I've gotten content, which is very important to me. And it's, the fact that I've been able to do that here has been a big relief. And it's just in general, I've been loving seeing the fans and just hanging out with people. And the part of the panels I was of, this last weekend with the Wrestle Crap guys and the Cultaholic guys was a lot of fun. Sorry, I don't know if I can mention that name here. You can bleep it out if you want. But it's been a really fun weekend, and I've been really enjoying myself.
So it's called Double or Nothing later on today. What do you make of the buzz around not just Double or Nothing, but of course AEW and the future of AEW?
I feel like it's been a long time since I've ever felt this kind of hype and momentum about anything in wrestling, except for AEW. And it's, maybe things would have been different if TNA were first around and social media were this prevalent. I think we may be hearing something different about that. But yeah, as far as I think it's a perfect storm. The story of Cody leaving WWE 3 years ago and now being the flag bearer of this brand new promotion that has all this hype is so poetic. And even if you don't like Cody Rhodes and the Bucks and the Elite in general, you have to respect the fact that they've took this thing that was essentially their own YouTube show, being the Elite, and they turned that into a company that's being backed by a multimillionaire and is going to be on pay-per-view and television all in just a few years. Who does that? That's amazing. And so I think people are justifiably swept up in that. Like, well, I can do this. Like, then maybe I can do whatever. It's kind of an inspirational story in a way. I mean, they've got a lot of breaks, but also they've just been really working hard.
The fact that this has started from a tweet, basically.
Yeah, basically, I think it's just to see what happened with All In and how that grew and transitioning to Double or Nothing and their own official company. It's really amazing to kind of see the growth they've had, and in the end, ultimately, the bell still got to ring. At the time of this recording, Double or Nothing's not happened yet. The TV show hasn't started yet. So there's still a lot of questions, but I feel they've been putting themselves in a really good position to succeed.
And there's a lot of positivity around it. What do you think the future holds for AEW?
Eventual negativity. I wish them all the luck in the world. I cannot imagine what Twitter's going to look like the first time AEW pulls a boneheaded booking decision that fans don't like. What's going to happen? They're going to feel betrayed. I feel there's a lot of fans who do put a lot of stock in AEW, whether it be like delusion or just kind of like hope, optimism that hey, we'll get an alternative. It'll be different WWE. But there's some people, there's like stands on either side, basically, where people who are like, AEW is going to destroy WWE. And there's people, the people who say that AEW is going to tank, But the people, it's like there's all this optimism and this kind of feeling of do no wrong that I know is very fringe, but it's like it's the vocal minority. And so when you see something like that happen, if you see some bad booking decision happen, like how are they going to react? Like, I'm very curious. I'm very excited to see what kind of reaction is going to be in a weird, dark way. But I mean, I think like AEW, it's like if the rest of this year plays out successfully, if this show's a success, if Fight for the Fallen's a success, and I know there's another one I've been hearing rumors of down the pike that I'm not going to say here, but if they keep going with that and if television's received well, then I think it's just going to lead to a momentum, a snowball effect, a momentum and more positive press for them.
You and I were both around for the Monday Night Wars, or certainly towards the end of the Monday Night Wars, and a lot of people have been sort of comparing AEW versus WWE, and there's been slight shots fired from both parties, more on one side than another, I suppose. Yeah. But do you think that it's in any way comparable to it? Because they both can coexist, can't they?
Yeah, I don't think there's no problem with having multiple wrestling companies. I don't know why they got this idea that one must survive. I think that's probably the nature of capitalism and business in general, but. Yeah, I don't think it's Monday Night Wars. I mean, first of all, if they compete directly with them, I don't think that's a good idea. I think AEW should really try and go as far away from actually directly competing with them as possible. I know it's kind of inevitable, no matter what they try and do, because no matter how neutral they try and play it, people are always going to compare the two. So you're going to have that built-in competition, whether it's from the companies or not. You're going to have that competition. I think it's just the first real case of competition we've had in a long time that with as much promise. Like with TNA, there was like promise of competition, but you never really knew who was running the ship or like how effectively it was going to be run. And ever since their inception, there's been this constant tailspin of bad press, an issue of money and location on television and stuff. Right out the gate, AEW's got a huge jumping-off platform, not only being backed by the co-owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, but also the fact they're going to get a television show on TNT, like a major cable network, not some third-rate thing that most people can't get on basic cable packages. That's a huge deal. Not every, and like you can argue that TV is kind of dying and that streaming video is where it's at. There's something to be said about that, but also it's kind of like it's kind of the blue check mark, I guess, of television. It's good to be on TNT, but maybe it's like doesn't hold as much sway as you think. But I think it's still very important.
Now, you mentioned there about sort of die-hard fans as well for WWE. Some die-hard fans of WWE are very much anti-AEW, but I make the point, I think a lot of people have made this point of, even if you're not a fan of AEW, you should be happy it's here because it could be the catalyst for change that we've been crying out for in WWE for years.
Yeah, I don't know how people could, in one breath, complain about WWE and their booking decisions while at the same time not be willing to give AEW a chance. That blows my mind because, also, what do you care? If you don't like AEW, don't watch it. Like, don't yuck somebody's yum, and just like if they want to watch AEW, fine, you can go on your merry way. Hey, I don't watch any New Japan or Ring of Honor or Impact or whatever. That's not because I don't like it. It's I don't have time, and it's like it's not really on the forefront of my mind right now. But I'm not going to diss on somebody for liking those things. It's you don't need to tear someone down to build something up.
Now, we mentioned WWE and it being potential change there for them. I've got to get your thoughts on Raw getting more Raw, the 24/7 championship, and the wildcard rule. Thoughts?
I love the 24/7 championship in concept. Hate the name, hate the belt, but I love that idea. The wild card rule, they should just get rid of the brand split because it's pretty much all they're doing. They've already defied their own rules on so many occasions in the last 3 weeks they've had it. Roman Reigns has been on Raw every week since the wild card rule, and they said in their press release it was a one-time opportunity. I guess they meant one time per week they were going to be able to come and go to different shows. And then getting more Raw, I guess they were talking about the aesthetic change they started doing in the third hour, which I barely noticed. Like, it was so subtle to me. Yeah, and so, looking back on it, though, I like it. I don't hate it. And if it helps freshen things up a bit, then I'm totally for that, because that's one thing that WWE has been, especially Raw, is just stale. So stale. And so, like, even the slight aesthetic changes, like the way they've been shooting backstage promos, having backstage segments in the middle of matches, or like bookending matches and stuff, all these small, subtle directorial changes they've been making to other things besides the wrestling. I think if they keep committing to it and like if it gets good response, they should keep doing that. I think that's a good step in the right direction.
Now, without getting too far ahead of ourselves, if Double or Nothing goes well, if AEW on TNT does well, could you see eventually this being the catalyst for Triple H potentially replacing Vince at the top because of people speculating, as you mentioned there, Cody, and these new, fresh ideas?
I hadn't thought about that. It's entirely possible. Who really knows? And with Vince McMahon doing the XFL, they say he's going to commit to both. That doesn't sound very realistic.
He doesn't sleep much.
No. But, I could see, like, maybe sooner than we think, maybe Triple H takes over. I don't want to speculate on that kind of thing because I am so sick of the conversation. It's been going on for like the last 10 years. Like when Stephanie and Triple H take over, I don't even want to think about that. Just like let it happen, let it ride, and like then we can start thinking about that when it actually happens.
What do you think the future holds for WWE and AEW then?
I think they'll both still be around for a little while. I'm optimistic that AEW does well. I would like to see, if not maybe a revival of the Attitude Era, some other kind of thing that makes them try harder creatively. I'm sure they're trying hard, but something's not up. Something's not right. And so maybe it does come down to Vince McMahon and him being ousted. I just want to see everyone do well. I don't think anyone should want a company to fail because it's bad for wrestlers who can't find work, and it's bad for fans who don't have fewer options.
We talk about like them coexisting alongside each other. Do you think it would be beneficial in terms of the fact that over the years, traditionally, they stole from each other in terms of WCW and WWF? They stole their ideas. Do you think AEW being there and bringing these fresh new ideas could be an aid for WWE almost?
I think that kind of thing where talent move over from one company to the other is inevitable just because like it's the nature of the free market and business. So I could see that happening. I think I'm kind of for the question already, so I'm kind of rambling here, but I think it could bring a new age of that creative spark, that change in direction. And seeing wrestlers move from one company to the other, to me, was like heroin as a kid, like hearing that news about people moving over, even rumors and stuff. Yeah. So it's like, if we get that again, like it kind of makes me interested and invested in seeing what's going to happen. So, if it brings more competition, more shakeups in in where people go, then let's have it. Let's see some variety in wrestling. We haven't really seen that in a while.
Now, Jericho's obviously wrestling on Double or Nothing. There is speculation about Dean Ambrose, Jon Moxley potentially appearing. There's speculation even about CM Punk making an appearance. But not to put you on the spot too much. Which one wrestler who's currently on the WWE roster would you like to see move to AEW if you could pick anyone?
On the current roster? It's kind of an odd one. I would say Sasha Banks. I think the women's division in AEW is really talented, but I don't see any real star power in that. Sasha Banks, I think if she went to AEW tomorrow, would instantly be treated like a huge star because she's a big deal. And so she's even though she hasn't been used all that well lately, I think that if she were to go to AEW, she'd be put in a bigger pedestal. She'd be putting out good matches, and I think it would be a good move. Now, I hate fantasy booking, so I'm not going to go any more than that. But I think Sasha Banks would be a really good move up for her.
Is this the most exciting time to be a wrestling fan ever?
Ever? I'm not going to go that far, but it's definitely an exciting time to be a fan because options are everywhere. New horizons are being explored. Who could ask for anything more? And I end with a rhyme.
Brian, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you. Thank you so much for taking time to chat to WhatCulture Wrestling. Best of luck with all the future with Wrestling With Wregret as well. And thank you for inviting us to karaoke last night.
It was a lot of fun. Let's do it again sometime.
We did Bohemian Rhapsody. Things got weird.
Killed it.
We killed it. My thanks to Brian Zane. Thank you for watching, and we will see you soon.